It's time for your Low Country real estate market update. It's the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. Brian is one of the top 1% real estate agents in Charleston. Find him online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-345-1273. Now, broadcasting from the WTMA studios, here's your host, Brian Beatty.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com. I'm your host, Brian Beatty. Thanks for joining me this morning as we talk about real estate here in the Charleston area, as well as nationwide. You can find me on iTunes, as well as a few other locations with my podcast. And so this is a show where we talk about residential real estate. We talk about the process of hiring real estate agents, finding properties, selling properties, investing in real estate, the market in general, what you need to know and the information you need to succeed in real estate as a consumer, how to protect yourself and defend yourself from the information designed to create urgency and get you to do something that might not be within your best interests. I want you guys to have the right information and know enough about the process and about how we as real estate agents operate so that you can win in any transaction. So if you'd like to reach out to me, let me get this out of the way. If you want to call me and talk with me about real estate, you're curious to know more about how I operate, how my team helps people buy, sell, and invest in real estate, my number is 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273, or go to listingsincharleston.com. That's my website, listingsincharleston.com. You can learn more about myself and my team and who we are, what we do, what we sell, how we sell it, all that fun stuff. Listen to this show. I've been doing this for over 5 years on WTMA. All my shows are on my website. Of course, you can search the MLS, find out how much your home is worth, and a slew of other cool things real estate related. So here's what we're going to talk about over the course of the next hour, and I'm going to do this in a few different ways. This entire show is dedicated to the process of selling a house. The entire show is going to be all about selling a house. Next weekend, we'll talk about the process of buying a house. Then we'll talk about the process of investing in real estate. So I'm going to do a 3-part series, and I'm going to dedicate my entire hour to this process. So this morning, we're going to talk about the process of selling a house. What to do before it's for sale, what do we do while it's for sale, what happens when an offer is received, and how do we get from contract to closing. So that's what's planned over the course of the next hour. And, just a little bit about me. I've been on this program for 5 years. I've been selling real estate for 12, represented over 1,000 buyers and sellers in the Charleston market to the tune of about $500 million in real estate volume. So when I tell you these things, it's based off of experience. I'm not reading off a list that I found online. These are things that I have run into in my career in representing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people to help them accomplish their real estate goals. And so as it relates to selling real estate, the first thing that I want to say is that, first of all, there is either a need to sell or there is a want to sell. That simple difference has a big impact on when, how, and why people approach the process of selling their home, and who they choose to represent them, and then ultimately what or how much they actually sell their home for. So when people mentally commit to selling their home and they need to sell, here's what usually runs through their minds. Here's usually the process. And this is not 100%. This is typically what happens, though. First, they say, okay, we need to get this place ready to sell. And that would be things like the deferred maintenance, repairs, maybe some landscaping that they've let go. And in some cases, they do some light to moderate renovations. And we'll talk more about that a little bit later. But then they're going to say, all right, well, we need to figure out how much home we can afford based on how much money we'll get when we sell this house. And that's obviously why we want to wait until our home is in tip-top condition before we invite a real estate agent over, because we need to get as much out of this home as possible in a very quick amount of time. And then we need to hire a real estate agent that can get this job done for us. Get it done for us smoothly, quickly, and successfully. so that we can move on to the next chapter in our life. When people want to sell their house, the process is usually a little different. The biggest change really is that because there is no need to sell, first they have to look around and they have to find something that is going to make them want to move. They have to find something that's going to get them excited enough to want to sell. They're not going to want to sell unless they can buy something that fits their needs. And what I mean by that is it's not like every time somebody decides to sell, it's because they're going to buy a bigger, better, more expensive home. You could want to downsize because you're already in your forever home and it's just too big for you. You don't need 5,000 square feet. You'd be happy with 2,800 to 3,000. Or you don't need 3,000 and now you need 1,800 to 2,000. It just, the numbers depend on folks and what they're used to. But there are all different kinds of scenarios here. But first, they need to look around at what they can buy in order to get themselves excited enough to want to sell. And then they put together a number in their mind that says, all right, well, if we can sell our house for this amount of money, it would allow us to afford what we want. And maybe have a little money saved on the side to, pay down some debt or put it toward retirement or whatever. And then about half of them will go and they'll look around and they'll see what's for sale in the neighborhood. And they'll see how other people have priced their homes and how their home, compares to that so that they can try and justify their price and their process. And then finally, they're going to interview some real estate agents, just like the people that need to sell do. And some sellers will listen. They'll actually listen to the real estate agent's advice and their suggestions, even though it might not be what they want to hear. But there's a good portion of sellers, especially in a market like this, where we have a shortage of inventory and we have an oversupply of real estate agents. So naturally, in that type of landscape, there are going to be agents out there that are going to say what they need to say to get you to sign on the dotted line. And we're going to talk about this in just a little bit, how agents that use rapport to influence your decision, you need to know how to defend yourself against that because it might not be within your best interests. But what these sellers are going to do is that if they don't hear what they want to hear, then obviously they're just going to keep looking until they find that real estate agent that agrees with their vision and gives them the reassurance that what they want to accomplish is actually possible. And those are the properties, by the way, that you see that have been on the market for months and months. Most of the time. Don't get me wrong. There are plenty of opportunities to test the market in the Charleston Tri-County area and get what you want, so long as what you want is reasonable. But for the folks that continue to try and play leapfrog on pricing their home with other homes in the neighborhood in an area in which sales are becoming a little more stagnant, it's not going to work unless you get incredibly lucky. And don't get me wrong, sometimes agents get lucky. We get lucky all the time. I've said a few shows ago that a third of our listings sell in a week or less. And I'm talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of properties, folks. That's a lot to sell in a week or less. Is our marketing so darn good that we can guarantee your home's going to sell in a week or less? No, nobody's is. What happened was we were in the right place at the right time. We marketed it well. We priced it well. We gave the market what they wanted, and they snatched it up. Because there is this huge slew of buyers that are watching the market like a hawk, waiting for the right opportunity to hit the market. And as soon as they see it, they swoop in. But if you hit the market and your photos don't look good, you're overpriced, you could tell that it's sloppy or rushed, you're probably going to get passed by those ready, willing, and able buyers, and you're not going to do yourself any favors. But anyways, getting back to this scenario of, either wanting to sell or needing to sell, one scenario isn't necessarily better than the other. I mean, I was actually somebody that wanted to sell my house only because my wife and I found something that we wanted to buy. I mean, we had literally just finished replacing a roof and windows in our previous house, which cost like $20,000. And it's like the worst money you could spend on a house because you don't get to enjoy any of it. Nobody sits out in their room and looks out a window and goes, God, this is a great window. I love this window. Man, look at that roof. roof's looking good today. You know, I mean, that's not what you say. And so we just sunk $20-something thousand into our house, and this other opportunity comes along, and we're like, we would be foolish not to buy this. This is exactly what we want, and we can afford it. And I know I can sell my house for a lot more money than what I bought it for 4 years ago. So just because I wanted to sell and didn't need to sell does not mean that I discounted the process of selling my home for top dollar. And that's what I want to talk about this hour is whether you want to sell or whether you need to sell, there are things you can do, any seller can do, and things to avoid in order to sell your home for top dollar. So that's what we're going to talk about this entire show. If you have questions for me, if you want to talk about selling your house or buying a house, anything real estate related whatsoever, you're welcome to give me a call. My cell phone, my personal number, which you can reach me off air or text me on, is 843-345-1273. Again, it's 843-345-1273, or go to listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Stick around, guys. We'll be right back with more of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show right here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Stay tuned for more of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.